Illusion City, Toshi. So last stream was a wash. We wasted the last stream of this game. It was a very long stream, almost 5 hours, and it was all down the drain when I finally put 2 and 2 together and realized I could not defeat the final boss. Now, eventually we kept dying and retreating and whatever, and the game did dump us back to a safe point that was inside Illusion Castle. But it doesn't matter because you don't have access to shops. And I think we need to stock up on consumables if we can. And maybe buy item upgrades if we can find them. I don't think we can find them. But, you know, we need the consumables. Because, you know, if we had like infinite consumables, I would have been able to beat the game. But we didn't. So I need to buy consumables. That's the most important thing. And we also need to level up. I have been informed that on some Japanese playthrough of the game, they were like 10 levels ahead of me. So we need levels, probably. Right, so we'll have to repeat that last stream, but we're gonna be doing that tomorrow. I already figured out the puzzle that needs to be done there with the statues. So we don't need to redo that. But we do need to do the farming today. So today is farming. Beating the game is tomorrow. That's the plan. Alright. The plan actually is start on save slot 5. Like I wrote all of this down last stream. Take the save slot number 5. Go farm at the labs. We got to the boss at level 32. We need to be at least at level 45. So like farm for 45 levels or thereabouts. Once we have farmed enough, we can buy consumables and check if we can find upgrades. We need all the consumables. We can get like gear that we can buy, and we should take an extra set of gear for Mei Hong. And maybe for Lee, because we don't have... Yeah, right now we have Ho Mei. We have Tianran, Ho Mei, and we have Kai. Now, both Kai and Ho Mei, they leave the party. And they get replaced with Lee and Mei Hong. So I could consider just carrying equipment for all 3 characters. Well, 2 characters plus the equipment that is on Tianran. Now I could also spend time leveling up Lee and Mei Hong. I might. I think I'm going to certainly do the puzzle and go back, heal and save. And then move through the puzzle room quickly. Yeah, let's see. Today it's just farming. That's the plan. So let's move over here. Like I said, we start a level at save slot number 5, which is before we go inside Illusion Castle. As you can see, it's in Doc's store. Now I think I remember everything that we need to do in there, how to get there, so like that's not gonna be much of a problem. Now, last stream I played with MIDI, so today we're going with FM, and tomorrow for the ending we're going back to MIDI. That's why the title is Farming. Ghostly Harvest Moon. No, it's Farming in Illusion City, so it's illusory farming. Yes. I'm not clever. Never said I was. Can I exit? Hang on. The volume thing and the timer. Here, a little bit more volume for the game. Should be fine. Dun, 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 dun. this music is so good. This is the most Shadowrun song of them all. So good, man. So mysterious and high-tech and everything. So, New Territories is the final boss area. Previous area that we did was here, so I'm going here in hopes that we can actually go somewhere to farm. It's been a while, so I don't remember where we can get to farm. With our fancy spiffy spinner. Oh, sorry, but I'll have to wait here. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Kai doesn't come with you, so our farming is gonna be a lot worse than I expected. We only have 2 characters and we don't have the infinite healer. Ah, bollocks. Whatever. Is there an... I don't remember this place. He says while going straight to where he wanted to go. I think this leads to the farming area. I need to find... Yeah, okay. This is where we're gonna be farming. We don't want the chi blow though. Because that uses mana, we're gonna need it for healing. I do need to find the town spot where we can actually rest and buy ammo. We might need ammo eventually. Well, we can still... Okay, this is fast and free, we're not taking damage. The only issue would be if leveling was too slow like this, but it's like 900 a pop. That can't be too bad, right? If we go deeper, there are some enemies that are way harder to kill, but they didn't give a lot of... I could still try to go deeper though. I'm going to make sure I'm following a wall so I can easily find my way back if I change my mind on where I'm going. That's a lot of experience. Like, that's like double. It's not double the effort. But as you can see, we're on level 30. The goal is to get to level 45. Or a bare minimum 40. If we get to 40, we can get to 42 by the time we get to the boss. You do still get 2 levels down there. Well, maybe not because of the curve. We got 2 when we were at 30. Okay, she leveled, not us. Of course, even as she leveling helps the farming go by faster, probably. But it's still free of damage. The only price we pay here, other than time, of course, is the ammo. Which we're making more than enough money to buy the ammo back. Oh, did I missed this? Oh, we got another Chiblo. That's going to be turned into so many consumables. Like, on the final boss, and that's one of the reasons we couldn't beat it, you can only damage him with spells. And I said that I was wondering if maybe he would be successful to taking damage from the chi blow because it's a gun that uses mana. But I can't equip it mid-fight, and if to equip it before the fight, I would have to equip it before the previous boss. And then I would be using mana. Of course, in consumables it's less of a problem. That fight, but I don't know, like, I could just spend time using consumables, but I got the feeling that that fight has some kind of soften rage to it. By soften rage, I mean a mechanic that makes it so... It's distracting me. A mechanic that makes it so you have a time limit, like a turn limit. And the case of that fight is that every now and again the boss will reduce your defenses, so you start taking more damage than you did before. So if we take too long, we might start taking too much damage and then we can't survive. And these are enemies here, they are very annoying to kill. They don't give a lot of experience, but these ones, if I recall correctly, they give you a lot of experience and they're very easy to kill. No, they are very few with the experience. Okay, what about these? Let me confirm. They were very annoying to kill. And they did a lot of damage. And they didn't give you a lot of experience, but I have to confirm. It's not that they do a lot of damage, but there's a lot of AoE attacks that do damage to everyone. 420, blaze it. Is this the leveling grind? Yes, Sunfall. This string is grinding for levels and for consumables, so we can try the final boss again tomorrow. Like, I'm being very upfront. If you guys don't want to watch boring grinding, be forewarned, there's gonna be no progression tonight. No, the music and graphics make it a lot more enjoyable, yes. Yeah, these enemies here are not worth it. Yeah, today we're playing with the FM music. Tomorrow for the ending we're going back to MIDI, just for variety. These enemies are horrible. Right, it was a good experiment. Can you die already? No, that experience is horrible for the time you spend there. No, not this one I'm gonna run from. Right, so this room, like, you have weak enemies that don't give you enough experience, and you have stupid strong enemies that don't give you enough experience, so just stay on the previous room. These enemies are quick to kill and reasonable experience. Yes, damage yourself. 20 stream streak. Yes, congratulations, my friend. Thank you so much for being here all this time. Okay, I'm gonna need to heal up. That is the bug that can soft lock the game when the selection is just a small square. It scares me so much. If you do anything other than press enter, it freezes the game. I mean, it doesn't freeze the game, but it stops responding to inputs. Happened to us once. Oh, you're almost a fate. Welcome, my friend. How much experience is actually needed? That's like 25,000. That is pretty slow. Like that's like 20 fights. It depends on the fights, of course. These guys would be 25 fights, the other guys would be 12? 14 fights, on average 16 fights per level. It's not that bad. This is definitely not an RTS. Yeah, I haven't played an RTS in years. I swear to God, someday I'm gonna play an RTS and people will be like, nice RPG. Argue the Rage of Mages. It is. No. That game is an RTS. You can buy units, including catapults, and you can control multiple units and target and move, and it does involve a lot of that stuff. That is an RTS without buildings and with heavy RPG elements. But that game is more RTS than RPG, definitely. Right, this enemy is a different one. So, and this one is not free. It does cause damage. So let me see. Yeah, it would have to give me a lot more experience to be worth it. It also takes a lot longer. Nah, that's not worth it. We stick with farming on the previous sector. Come on, Moosey Fate. Come on. Are we seriously calling an RTS a game where you control one character? And that is not real time! It's fucking turn-based. It's not real time. It's turn-based single character tactics, which is a genre that probably only has Emerald Dragon as taking part in it. I'd have to check, like, at what stores we can buy what we want. The consumables. An RTS without building. Oh. I've played very little RTSs that had no building in them. I think they're fine. I don't think it's a requirement. I think the best example that comes to mind as a game that is definitely an RTS and a good one is Myth. The 3D one with the where you rotate the battlefield and you have the little dwarves with the little satchels of explosives, which was the most fun part of the game. It was definitely an RTS, had no building. This is not an RTS, it's a D-pad and click. I'm not using a mouse and I'm not... Oh, Neogrek, that's good! Neogrek is one of the big hills. Hang on, I'm going to find... This is one of the big consumables that might be hard to locate. Illusion City Data Book. aka the manual and list of items. Neogrek is the equivalent of a divine tablet. It fully restores your health. We really need consumables for mana. This one might help us conserve some mana, but we need the mana ones. Myth is a neat idea. Looks great. Later missions are pretty RNG. Yes, like Myth. I didn't sing the praises of Myth. I was merely describing it. Myth is very fun, very fun for the first 4 or 5 levels. Then it gets annoying, then it gets stupid. So I fully agree with your assessment. I played as a kid until I didn't enjoy it anymore, which was around mission 6 or 7. I was like, yeah, no, this is getting dumb, I'm gonna play something else. Fundamentally different though, having to split your attention between combat, scouting, and building. Do you think that's essential for an RTS? So you're telling me that you don't consider Brutal Legend to be an RTS? I'll have to say that I disagree with your opinion, which is fine. We can have different opinions. And I wonder how out of the left field is the game that I just mentioned in the discussion about RTSs, because I really liked the RTS parts of Brutal Legend. I played multiplayer RTS Brutal Legend over Xbox Live. It was fun. I wish the game had more of it. Game kind of ends way too quickly. Like, I don't remember the details. I remember there was like this entire segment of the game that I thought, okay, we're gonna go back to that and do that. And the game just ended. I was like, okay, please. Excuse me for wanting to have fun. And for me, like, an RTS is... you control a bunch of units to attack and do other things in a manner that is strategic and in real time. Do I need more? That is focused on the many units. And managing the many units. And I say that last part just to exclude Dota lights. We found Jewel. What is this? Megaten? No, the Jewels here, I'm pretty sure they just vendor trash. Haven't played, you've seen it. Ultimately no. You wouldn't consider it to be an RTS. And the game itself is just an adventure, like... open world kind of ish. It's very fun. I really like that game. But it does have RTS battles, but they are the kind of RTS where you control one character and you keep giving orders to the other units and they mostly follow you around. It's a third-person main unit controlled RTS. Like Overlord? Wasn't it called Overlord? I think there was a game that was that kind of RTS called Overlord. Dominatrix boots! I'm gonna keep that for future Homei. Not Homei, Meihong. By description you said, yeah, you wouldn't see it as an RTS. I kind of didn't expect you to when I mentioned it. MOBAs, I think they are better. I don't like calling them MOBAs because that term was invented by Riot, so freaking League of Legends wouldn't be called a Dota-like, and fuck Riot and everything they stand for ever. So I don't like the term MOBAs. I also don't like the term MOBAs because multiplayer online battle arena describes 90% of all games that exist. They are multiplayer, they are online, they have battles in an arena. That's the stupidest... It's just... But if you don't want to call them Dota-likes, you can call them, and I think it's the technically most correct way to call them, ARTSs. Or action real-time strategies, to separate them from actual real-time strategy games. I think that's good enough. You have to play Brutal Legend too. Yeah, I have it. I do have it on Steam, but I played it on Xbox 360 before it came to Steam. It was a lot of fun. I do recommend it. Right at the beginning of the game, something bad happens and the character goes, "You incredibly stupid The game pauses. Do you want censorship on the cussing? Yes, I think it's funnier with the bleeps. No, I want to hear the full unfiltered thing. And then you select, and then he resumes talking. You agree with my stance fully. Thank you. Thank you. I knew you would. I hoped you would. Point and click also describes all games that use a map. Point and click adventure games. That way you're describing adventures where you play exclusively by pointing and clicking. Most adventure games don't have maps. Just point and click is not enough. Point and click, it kind of means the same as mouse driven. So solitaire is a point and click. So just point and click, I don't like it as a moniker. I don't think it's descriptive enough. You really dislike ARTS. You hate the abbreviation because you think it's more removed from RTS than that. I would agree with you, but Meepo. Are you familiar with Meepo? I swear to God, it takes an RTS genius to play with Meepo. Because you control 5 units independently at the same time using abilities, and it is... Oh, we got the kamikaze headband back. Do you want anyone to die, chat? I don't know, because in terms of controls, it's kind of the same. It doesn't have a base, like you think it's too far away from RTSs because you think if you don't have base building then it's not an RTS. Because I don't see it that way, I find the ARTSs to be very close to RTSs. What is a point and click? Right, it's not a point and click adventure. You can't play just... No, a point and click, you must be able to play it with only the mouse. I don't think you can play COD with only the mouse. That's at least I would like to put it like that. Do these chests restock? No, they don't. Those chests I missed the first time we did this dungeon. Warcraft 3 use 3 heroes in your army. How does it compare to that? I'm gonna tell you that controlling an entire army in Warcraft 3 and 3 heroes was a walk in the park compared to controlling 5 meeples in a big ass fight. I know that sounds absurd, but good lord. If one of your meeples dies, all of them die. I say this as someone that did actually get the hang of playing with meeple, and my hands would usually hurt by the end of a match. I don't think you can bring yourself to play Call of Duty. I played a lot of Call of Duty before it became Call of Duty. Like the last one I played, and that was that's when I lost interest, was Modern Warfare. Remember, Call of Duty used to be a game. A long time ago. Late 90s. This building's close enough to call it ERTS or RTT. Your opinion is that finally dicing genre is mostly just nerd bait to get people rolled up for no good reason. Yes, that's why I'm engaging. I don't actually care. Other than the MOBA thing, I do care about the MOBA thing, I think it's stupid. Everything else I'm just making conversation, I'm arguing semantics, and I think that arguing semantics is incredibly entertaining. And I know I have an audience here for that, I can't do that at home. People will just like tell me to shut up. Alright Zofera, enjoy your lurk. Sound absurd, complexity comes down to a lot of nuance. In your opinion, broadening the RTS categories ignores things fundamental to it. Right, you were making an argument regarding the issue with diluting the genre and weakening the definition for a genre that is already suffering with proper representation in modern games. Is that the argument you're kind of making? I can see the value in that. Just conversation. Yeah, I know no one here cares that. I mean, Musifate does care a lot. Which is why I'm trying to keep it reasonable. I'm not gonna bring a sandwich opinion into this discussion, don't worry. Personal heroes that you call them feels like instead of souls likes. I can respect that a lot. Who the fuck would get riled up by that? You're kind of right. No, you know, how does that meme go? He's out of line, but he has a point. You're not wrong. I'm gonna see if I find a safe spot. Alright, now Musifate, that argument I can appreciate it a lot. I just think that, specifically when it comes to ARTS, I don't see it. Like, you think that it's too far removed from an RTS to be called something similar to it, but you can make the same argument about ARPGs. They have leveling and items, that's it, that's all the RPG they have. I think ARPGs are as removed from RPGs as ARTSs are removed from RTSs. Man, all those acronyms are bugging my head now. Pepsi Face Morons will get riled up. Oh, we have never been here. Like, this has never opened. After killing the boss, do we come back here maybe? If I come across that you care more than you do. You do come across as someone who cares a lot. But that's not, there is nothing wrong with that. I want to see where if I can save. Is this the... It is. You do care for clear communication, which I also do. Yeah, no, Mosifade. That's the reason I talk about this shit. It's a harmless thing to get riled up about. Right, this will lead us to town, where we can save, rest, buy. And I could maybe already get the consumables I need. Actually, this guy gives you the map of town. Hang on. You probably don't need any guidance. No! Oh, he did give me, but I don't remember. He doesn't repeat himself. What an asshole. But I'm pretty sure the shops were up here and the inn was to the left. Sharing perspectives. Sure. So I'm gonna save it here. I'm gonna keep saves 5 and 6 sanctified and untouched. Oh, this is the inn. Sure. In general, people care the more about specifics, the more they are into the specifics. Yeah, which is why these conversations are fun, because they do... Discussing specifics does make you consider a lot of stuff and talk about old games, share experiences. Like, what other discussion could we possibly ever have where I would freaking bring up Meepo? Freaking Meepo, man. It was kind of fun playing with Meepo, but good god, it required so much attention. Like, you want to play a match of Dota and you don't want to ever be like, I'm gonna relax, I'm gonna fuck. No, Meepo, it's like, oh fuck, I got slightly distracted, now everyone died. Oh, I had 5 characters, one of them was slightly behind. I think the maximum Meepos you get is actually 4, but then you get the getting scepter, it goes up to 5, but that might have changed. Every year they release the patch that would change literally everything. Maybe nowadays Meepo isn't 5 characters anymore. The more you like a thing, the more you see the differences. Yeah. So into RPGs, we want to differ all the types of RPGs, the favorite types. Yeah, people make a lot of distinctions between RPGs and CRPGs and JRPGs, and yes, there is a lot of nuance there. And it's fun to discuss, obviously. To anyone that isn't us, it would be like, okay, there are games where you walk around, you kill monsters, you get experience, you get stronger, you get items. What's the difference? They scratch very different itches. For me too. Your snark is there that there is actually very few SRPGs. Brigantine, Wheeling, Greaser, Dark Wizard, most of the rest are TRPGs because you make immediate decisions, not long-term ones. You pretend that opposite say TRPG. You require very different thinking. Yes. Like, a lot of games, like, for example, you guys were talking about Megami Tensei before you brought up Megami Tensei. Megami Tensei, it has a certain JRPG feel to it, but it's a dungeon crawler, so it requires that kind of dungeon crawling mentality to play it. But then you also have to be constantly thinking about demons and fusions and recruiting and negotiation. I think that game created an itch specific for me to scratch that I haven't really found in other games. I mean, I'm sure Persona does the same. Like, constantly thinking about demons, the Larry Bird story. There you go, I haven't had one of those in a while. You know, I relax my wife in bed before talking about their various RPG styles. When I talk this kind of stuff, like stuff from work or stuff from games with my wife is when she's having trouble sleeping. Start talking, yeah, no, today I'm so happy, so excited. I finally worked on automating a workflow to deploy my project with both a Windows and a Mac OS installer, and I look at her, she's already passed out like 5 hours before I started speaking. So this guy has medicine. Okay. According to the manual, the Sage cheap pill restores 300. He doesn't sell a divine one. But this is fine. And it's not... It is very expensive, but we need like 5 of these tops. Right, if 5 is not enough, we cannot do that fight. But I have to... But I have to do this at the end of the farming. Why? Because the items they sell... Wait, talismans? He has clad in armor. He doesn't have divine, he has sage, but the sage is still cover 4 attacks. And they're very fucking cheap. And the spell barrier might block the defense debuffs. The personal games don't do that so well. Ah, really? They're so focused. Okay. Whatever you wrote is probably very informative, which is why I'm not reading it. I want to go in as blind as possible, I'm sure you understand. Tonight I'll be angrily talking to my wife. Damn, I can't believe Muzi doesn't think Brutal Legend is an RTS. I couldn't do this. Yeah. No, I'm gonna say, look, this guy, I let him borrow almost half a terabyte of hard drive for like 2 months. I'm going to exaggerate a little bit. And the guy refuses to agree with me on the definition of an RTS. That guy has principles, I'll give him that. Also, never helping him again. No, what is the one that I have? Wait, did I get it afterwards? I have 2 Sage cheap pills, which are the ones this guy sells. They restore 300 each. Oh, so I got it inside the dungeon because I don't have it yet. I think I had a divine cladding armor, which protects from direct attacks. You guys, if you guys were here, you guys probably remember that's the thing that kept us alive a lot of that fight. These ones only protect you 4 times, but they're still pretty good and they're very cheap. I'm gonna buy like 10 of each. I'm gonna do that right now. Actually, I didn't get into any plot or gameplay details unless you consider the age of the protagonist as spoilers. I know there is Skull Kids because of the ads for the first one. Strange Journey. Yeah, I think you did recommend it. Right, Skull Kid shit. Okay. Okay, you didn't have spoilers, thank you. Or gameplay. And I wasn't expecting story spoilers, I was expecting gameplay spoilers. You want it to be true. No, it's a running joke that hasn't been around in a while. So I'm gonna buy 10 of these. Because if you buy 10, it gives you a discount. I'm gonna buy 10 of these. Because maybe that also blocks the defense debuff. So I'll use one, I'll use the other. When they break, I have to retop them. I have to remember that. Otherwise, I can just keep attacking, and then I need a truckload of yeah. I need a lot of these. I'm gonna buy 10. That's gonna be all my money, but I'm gonna be leveling for so many levels that'll get the money back. Right, this is still more useful to me than these. Because this is worth plenty of these. Because the gold tablet restores 300 HP. I have a spell that restores 200 HP. I can cast the spell multiple times with this one. This is good if you like, I don't have mana and I don't have time. I need to heal, I don't have mana. But if that happens, then we're kind of... I'm gonna get one of these for emergency. And then 10 of these. Which is gonna be all of our money. And that's fine. I will come back to not this store, but to the weapon and armor store after everything is said and done. After all the farming. Because the contents of the store are dependent on your level. Let me pull the manual out, otherwise I can't see chat. I know, Sunfall, I know. It's just that I can be so stupidly specific about spoilers sometimes. Like, I meant to at some point play Amnesia. And then someone told me something about that game. Minor mechanic thing that already made me not want to ever play it. I probably still will. I'm just hoping I forget what I heard before I get to that. Without giving spoilers or prompting people to remind me what it is something fundamental about the behavior of the enemies in that game. I would like Amnesia. Sometimes, oh man. If you could choose things to forget, everyone has a game they wish they could forget so they could play it again. But I like to go into games and movies completely fucking blind. Like, if someone tells me, look, this game is really good. Alright, I'm sold. It's about... No, I'm sold. No, but you see, there's this really cool You're reducing my enjoyment already. You speak any more, I'll lose my interest. Obradine and Hypnospace Outlaw are very high on that list. No Man's Sky for me... And running the risk of being very fucking cliche, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I'm a sucker for those games. They had me feel like a kid again. Just a sense of wonder and what is this and what is that? What are we doing here? What are they doing with the music? Oh fuck. What is that? What is that for? Wait, there's more stuff. There's something over there. Is that a thing? That is a thing. That's something that happened to me all the time in those games. What is that thing over there? That's not a... It is a thing. Wait, I think it might be a puzzle. Oh shit, it was a puzzle. Hang on. Oh, fuck. Amazing. Clair Obscure. Man, I'm gonna love that game when I play it. No, there are some games that are so good, like Clair Obscure, that I'm saving myself. I mean, I haven't bought it yet. Like, it's too recent. It needs to be at least 3 years old so it goes into a sale. I'll buy it when they release the sequel. Ah, Jonathan Blow. Ah, that guy. Who's worse, him or the guy who made Fez? I don't even know all the drama there. I know most of it, I think. Oh, we got 2 groups here. Well, I think that's more efficient. Bill Fish was worse in the moment, but mellowed out. Was just gonna consistently worse. You know what? I think that's pretty accurate. Pretty accurate way of describing it. Phil Fish had a thing, did a thing, but then he was like, no, fine, fuck it. Getting 2 groups together gives you a lot more experience. I wish I could force that. He had a bit of a breakdown, but you know, then he got better. It happens. Maybe he just... Phil Fish, I can give him the benefit of the doubt and say he wasn't mentally equipped to handle the success. Jonathan Blow was equipped in a bad way. Oh, you know why getting 2 groups together is more efficient? Because it still gives you as much experience and money as if you killed 2 groups, but you get 1 less enemy. Just did the math on that. I remember really liking Shadow Complex, which is this Metroidvania made by Chair. I remember at the time there was some drama regarding the guy who wrote the book that the game was based on. I think he made some lousy remarks about something. I tried to ignore that stuff as much as possible. You know, the whole separating the art from the artists? I've learned that I have to do that all the time, otherwise I can't ever enjoy anything. The idea of doing calculus in human deep cheater is just appealing to you from a math nerd perspective. Math? No, Zofair, no math. I have to get back to Zachtronics games. I have to go back to Space Cam and beat it. That game was so good. Orson Scott Card is a garbage human being. The area under his curve continues to increase near exponentially. So frustrating how formative Ender's game was for you. Right, is that the guy that wrote the book that the Shadow Complex was based on? Yeah, that's the one. People are talking about boycotting the game because of that, which I can respect. But like I said, like, if you're going to be taking moral stances regarding what kind of art you consume, which is valid, you would have to never watch a movie again unless it was made by 3 people in their backyard. because there is way too many people that take part in making a movie, and the worse they are, the more importance they have to the movie being made. On average. And don't get me started on music, man. Of course, like there are bands and artists, they're amazing people. But good lord, there's so many assholes. Like, for example, I usually don't know the names of the people who take part in the bands and groups or whatever. But for example, I really like Megadeth music, but Dave Mustaine is an asshole. I like Metallica, and that guy is an asshole as well. I forgot his name. Not as much as Dave Mustaine, but... so much easier to just like enjoy something like Rage Against the Machine. Then you can have a clear conscience. Which also reminds me that I have a lot of respect for Roger Waters, because when he came down to Brazil, he risked a good part of his popularity by talking a lot of shit about our previous president. I think when he was running, yeah, during the campaign, during the leading to the campaign, Roger Waters actually did, during his show, some campaigning against our previous president, and he was still elected. You wanna know how right Roger Waters was? That same guy is now in jail. Get fucking banned. So I got a lot of respect, because people who support that guy are very vocal and probably got very angry, and he just didn't give a shit. I mean, he also knows his audience, right? But still, it would probably be easier and safer to just not speak up. He almost got into legal trouble because there are laws about not doing political advertising too close to an election. He even had a thing like, when it struck midnight during his show, he was like, okay, stop, we can't talk about that anymore. Movie industries, we disagree respectfully. That's fine. Maybe I am wrong. Choosing to avoid specific things as a moral stance is fine. It is. It is. I'm saying that I personally feel too powerless to think that my choices matter. It's impossible to be perfect. It is. Doesn't mean that your efforts are invalid. Some effort is better than no effort. As long as you're not making it worse, which, you know, if you're conscious about this stuff, I doubt you are. Yeah, in general, and I talk a lot with Musifate about this stuff. In general, I am in agreement with what you just said, Sunfall, which is what Musifate usually says, stuff along those lines. It's just that me personally, I have given up for the most part. I've said before that I see myself as just a tourist in this world. I don't belong here. I don't own the place, I don't know the owner. It was a mess when I arrived. I can't wait to leave. I'm not leaving it the worst place that I found it, but it's not my mess to clean. I'm just passing by. So you're absolutely right, and I do admire people who have like enough disposition to do something about it despite the world being a shitty place most of the time. Oh, I managed to get both groups, that's good. Efficiency. No, Sunfall, that's perfect. That's perfectly fine. I wouldn't expect anyone who reasonably does, you know, a little, as you said, or someone who puts it as trying to do a little. I don't expect anyone that says that to think they're perfect. Usually people who think they're upstanding moral guardians, they're on the complete wrong side of everything. Most of the time. Die, monster! You don't belong in this world! One is a man, but a miserable pile of secrets. Throws glass, it shatters. I thought that dialogue was enough talk, yes. I know that dialogue became kind of a meme. I never understood why. It seemed fine to me. Was it because specifically of the voice acting that was maybe a little bit over the top? Have a black Yago. Oh, that's very topical. Nice. I always thought the dialogue was fine. I thought it was fitting. I do like the voice acting in that game. But keep in mind, Musifate is in chat. It's very dangerous to talk about that game we're talking about right now in a positive manner while Musifate is around. It's that thread lightly. Ah, yes, they changed a bunch of stuff on the PSP, right? Yeah, I think there might be a restoration patch for that. So like a combination of the voice acting and a couple of specific lines. Mankind ill needs a savior such as you, super clumsy in sentence. But it's a clumsy time, it's supposed to be like medieval people. Makes sense that it sounds stupid. It only enhances the experience. To me at least. Also, it's not like the game is trying to take itself too serious anyway. The game isn't even that good. Respectful disagree. It's my favorite game on the PS1, probably. I read a bunch of 1800s literature is the wrong kind of corporate prose for the period. But it's the right amount of purple prose for a game called Castlevania. Or Kumajo Dracula. Yeah, it didn't bother me. I thought it was great, and then I saw the memes. I was like, what? It's fun. You put up with NES and SNES translate. We're talking about intelligent designs, whatever designs, translations the other day because I was playing Emerald Dragon, and people brought up Excito. And I think the third Exile for TurboGrafx CD was translated, and it was horrible. It was horrendous. It was probably the worst working designs. Thank you. It was probably the worst work from working designs. The third Exile. I think they added a. I think it's the one where they added a fart sound to one of the ending cinematics, just to keep it whimsical. Vic Ireland. Like the absolutely awful bosses are just great looking surprise you chunk holy water at. What else would I want? Great looking sprites you chuck holy water at. I'm sold. Can I have more? Can I have a game that is just that? A series of gigantic good looking sprites and I just throw things and it burns and little numbers go up. You're describing the perfect game to me. Lefully, they die in like 2 seconds. Yeah, because I'm OP. I want to feel powerful. I'm a tiny little dude who burns to ashes a gigantic, exquisite looking thing. I want more. Can I have more? Can you, Lafoli, can you find more games that you think are dumb because they have big, nice sprites that die too quickly? I would love to play more of those. Yeah, I still but then you're comparing a Castlevania to a Castlevania game. They're completely different things. I know. I really just think that one shouldn't compare Metroidvanias to Classicvanias, because obviously then you're gonna have that trouble. Yeah, I don't know, we had this conversation before, we brought up Fallout. How I have a friend that says that Fallout 3 would be the best game ever if it wasn't called Fallout. They're not even Castlevania games. Right, if they were called Personavania, they would probably be your favorite series or something. I get it. It's a nomenclature issue. Now you're gonna tell me that Symphony of the Night is not an RTS. No, I understand your arguments. I just don't. I really don't care about what it's called or if it's like distorting what the series is supposed to be. Because I am of the belief that they wouldn't be making Classicvanias instead of Metroidvanias if they hadn't made that game. The series would just have died earlier. Just, no, same as Fallout. If they hadn't made Fallout 3 and New Vegas and 4, they wouldn't have made a Fallout like the Fallout anyway. Like Fallout 1 and 2. In this essay, I'll explain how Symphony of the Night belongs in the action RTS genre. First, I will... Talking about the gameplay, the bosses, the stage designs, the mechanics, they share almost nothing. Right, you're complaining about it, about the game's name. And the thing is, okay, take away the name Castlevania. right? And you get just the game. Ignore the coat of paint thrown on top of it. Just the gameplay and the mechanics. I love it. Alright, that's a personal preference. I like that kind of gameplay. You get Castlevania aesthetics, music, visuals, characters, whatever. I love those. You put them together, I don't care if they fit. It's a better game because it's a gameplay that I like with a coat of paint that I like. If they released a JRPG called Castlevania Dungeons of the Vampires or some shit, and it was just a JRPG, but it had Castlevania music and characters, I would love it. There you go. I don't care. So, sounds great. Why do I pre-order it? You're sad because you ruined your favorite series. I understand that. I just think that your favorite series was already dead. And maybe we got some more classic Vanias because Symphony of the Night and Metroidvanias kept the franchise alive. Where is that goddamn elevator? Man, Jesus, I keep getting lost in here. Here, I just want to put a save every 40 minutes or so. Like, look! And you're gonna hate me saying this, I've never ever played an extraction shooter. I have zero interest. If they made a Castlevania extraction shooter, I would give it a shot. And I would probably enjoy it just because it has the little music and whatever the fuck else. And then I would promptly uninstall it, of course. Castlevania DLC for Vampire Survivors. I have not played Vampire Survivors. But I would probably enjoy it. It's free fun, I believe it. And put that skin in there, would probably, that DLC, whatever it does, I'll probably enjoy it even more. Or as Lafoli would say, I'm part of the problem. I can say, I can live with that. They're good games or bad Castlevania games. Again, your problem is just with the name. Which, you know, like I said, you're not the first person that I've seen making that kind of argument, so I don't think you are necessarily in the wrong. Because I've seen that sentiment shared by other people. I just personally can't relate. Like, you get my favorite series and you slap its name on something that becomes bigger of it, killing the original one. If you killed the original one, then maybe it wasn't that strong for the modern day, I suppose. What can you do? Like, people were complaining a little bit back in the day when they came out with XCOM 2013. Because, you know, it's not like the original XCOMs. And now we're never getting the original games like the original XCOMs again. That are called XCOMs because this is what they are now. We wouldn't be getting those games either way. In a hypothetical perfect universe, would have liked Konami to also keep making Classivanias alongside LJVanias, as of course. It would be a weirdo that likes good games. Konami makes fucking pachinko, yes, I know. It's okay to be sad about it, of course it is. Like, but no, we did get that amazing remake of that Game Boy Castlevania. What is it called? Right, I think this is a good point that I want to make here. Give me a moment. We got Castlevania: The Adventure Rebirth on the WiiWare, which was a remake of the Game Boy Color one. That remake is phenomenal. And I'll tell you right here, right now, that we would never have gotten it if the Metroidvanias, starting with Symphony of the Night, weren't as successful as they were. I think that... I think I can make the argument very confidently. Gradius Rebirth is pretty good, so I'll believe it. The Castlevania Rebirth is very good, and I really think that it only existed because the Castlevania brand was relevant, and I think it was only relevant because of games like Symphony of the Night keeping it relevant. And I think that a lot of people bought that game thinking, oh look, it's Castlevania, and they were like, what is this shit? Where's my map? Where are my upgrades? Where are my level ups? For the record, I like both kinds of Castlevanias. Like, I say that Symphony of the Night is one of the best games on the PlayStation 1. I say that Castlevania 4 is one of the best games on the SNES. It was one of the very first games I ever played on the SNES. I was amazed by it. I fucking love the music in that game. When you ask me like best soundtracks on the SNES, the first two to come to mind are usually Shadowrun and Castlevania 4. It is weird, but it's so fucking cinematic. And it's so fucking smooth to control. I did play like... I think the only Castlevania game that I played that I didn't like was the arcade one. That one was pretty lame. Being able to crouch and throw across is pretty huge. I had that too. You briefly had that exact same feeling about XCOM. You only realize exactly what I said. You learn to enjoy the new things for what they are. Exactly. XCOM 2 is fucking phenomenally well made and varied and balanced. And the War of the Chosen expansion is just adds so much good shit to it. And XCOM 2, it's the most original one. In terms of how the story plays. the way they comply. No spoilers, but they just flip it all around, and it's fucking amazing how well it works. Into the remake of Haunted Castle 2? Did they? I think I only played the original arcade one. Well, they chose like a top 5 expansion of all time. Of all time! I'll let it finish. You know, I think you're not too far off. But I might play through XCOM 2 again. And I don't like playing the same game more than once. You guys know that, and I have already beaten XCOM 2 twice. Once without and once with War of the Chosen. I want to play it more. I also am so amazed by how well those games play on a controller. You'd think they're horrible to play the controller, they work pretty well. I played the first one on a controller. Very well crafted controls. Yep. I still need to play, and I know it's not the same kind of game, but I still need to play Chimera Squad. I think it's the only XCOM game I know nothing about. Although I haven't beaten any of the classic ones. Apocalypse makes me uncomfortable. That game is way too much management, holy shit. XCOM Apocalypse is literally you buy a game that you're gonna play exclusively for the next 2 years. Like, I am strapped for cash. What game can I play that I can literally spend 2 years playing and still needs to be exhausted by it? And then the aliens come up with guns that literally delete your armor, make you naked. Makes any sane person comfortable. Absolute hot mess and near infinite content. They had very good ideas for that game. Very good ideas. Almost all of them were badly executed, but they're amazing. Hello there, Kibitz. This is the real farm, it's just a fantasy. Got in a long job, no escape from getting XP. Usually when it comes to this game, I think more of illusion. Gotta give it a that. It's just an illusion. But that works too. Welcome in, Kibitz. This is like the second or third time that I tried to sing something on stream. That's horrible. Why did I do that? I just dropped 6 viewers. I'm down to -2. I don't actually ever look at viewer numbers during the stream. It's unhealthy. If anyone here ever decides to start streaming, one of my 5 biggest pieces of advice: never look at your viewer count. This is something I used to say a lot when I was just starting. Your stream should be the exact same if you have 1 person watching, if you have 1,000. You can't be, oh, now there's people watching, I gotta put in the effort. And there's no one watching, I'm just gonna go quiet. First, because you're not gonna build a viewership if you do that. Second, because then you're gonna have 2 viewers and you're like this chill streamer and they enjoy your chillness. And then you get 20 viewers and you decide to hype it up, and then you lose the original 2 viewers because they liked you when you were chill. So, you know, decide what you are comfortable with, what you enjoy doing, and do that. If no one is watching, do the same exact same. People are not gonna be here, oh, you know, he's almost good. But I'm gonna wait around, if he gets more viewers, he's gonna get better. Feel free to blame you. I have so many people in chat I can blame for things. Get in line. You're still lurking. Enjoy your lurk. You're working. Oh, wait! Are you... You work at a... How do you work and watch a stream at the same time? Please don't stop your work to answer that. You don't look at the viewer count. Yeah. There are many things that one shouldn't do. You don't call out lurkers. You don't look at your viewer count. You don't change your schedule wildly. Many other things. Like, I'm not a good streamer or anything. But there are a few mistakes that I am proud to say that I never made. I think the other day I had a dream where I forgot the stream running and went to bed or something. Wasn't there a guy, it was probably just a publicity stunt, wasn't there a guy who was doing a Twitch stream and forgot to stop the stream, went to bed, had sex with his girlfriend on camera? Then I woke up on the next day, turned on his monitor, went like, oh shit, and stopped the stream. You don't step on Superman's cape, you don't spit into the wind, you don't pull the mask off of the old Lone Ranger, don't look at your accounts, Jim. I can't remember when what was the last time. You know that thing that people say, when was the last time you jumped? But the vast majority of people is never. I don't remember when was the last time I spat. At least on purpose, like talking too profusely and then spitting out a little bit, that doesn't count. I mean, like taking aim and just... For raid, always forget to clip stop at first. Now, here's the thing. You shouldn't... It's two things that you have to be careful about. One is that when you raid, your stream keeps going. There are reasons for why people might not go with the raid and they'll stay on your stream. So you have to stop it. But you always make sure the raid was arrived at the destination before you stop it. I've had people raid me with 0 viewers and like, oh shit, I stopped it before the raid completed. Which is fun, just something to keep in mind. 10-3 seconds before you remember. Well, I kind of have like these systems, like I'm a man of habit. So as long as I stick to my routines, I rarely forget that stuff. Okay, so the leveling is going fine. We have been streaming for 1.5 hours. I think we've been playing for 1.5 hours. And we've gotten 5 levels. Bare minimum I want is 10. So we are at least halfway done. We have already bought the consumables. Yeah, I bought the consumables. I bought 10 blockers for armor, 10 blockers for spell, and 10 mana fillers. If I have money left over, I might buy more after checking the equipment. You're an excited speaker, what can you say? That usually makes one a good streamer. Because that's the thing that I had a lot of trouble when I started streaming. You don't want silence, you don't want dead air. What the fuck do you talk about? And it's not... I had some difficulty because it's like 3-4 hours of constant talking about inane shit, and sometimes there's no one to interact with when you're starting and have better group. But for me, it isn't that difficult because in general, I do like talking. Like I've mentioned before, and I wasn't kidding, that this whole talking about the game as I'm playing it, or just is something that I did out loud when playing video games by myself. I still talk about shit when playing by myself. Not as much, but I still talk. The only reason I'm not a more excited talker was because I used to be when I was a kid. And grown-ups kept complaining. Pipe down. Yeah. But mom, I'm gonna be a Twitch streamer, I need to talk more. Imagine to a non-native tongue doesn't help with the mental load aspect either. A little bit, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm at a point where English vernacular barges into my everyday Portuguese speech. Where I'm like, I'll be talking to someone in my native language, and midway through I'll be like, wait, did I just say this word in English? And yeah, I think you did, it was kind of weird, yeah. I can't, look, even before I started streaming, I know my English is shit. But even before I started streaming, I would sometimes dream in English. Because I don't interact with a lot of people in real life, but I interact a lot with video games and books and movies and whatever the shit, it's all in English. Like, a long time ago, I decided, not for the reasons you guys might think, but I've decided to use all my phones and computers and software and everything in English instead of Portuguese. And the main reason is not because I wanted to learn, not because I wanted to increase my vocabulary. The reason was because finding help used to be a pain. If like I got this error message and it's in Portuguese, well, good fucking luck. Or like, follow these menu entries and they're gonna be like giving the instructions in English and I have to keep translating back and forth between the interface that I'm seeing, the instructions that I'm reading. So at some point I was like, you know what, fuck it, just rip the band-aid off, use it in English. Same for the keyboard, like I used to have to type so much to make the keyboard do what I needed it to do for programming. Because of that, is it dead letters? Dead keys? Dead keys. So like if I want to type in like double quotes, I had to press double quotes and space. If I want to press tilde, I had to press tilde and space, because it might think I want to combine with a letter. So I just decided, fuck it. English keyboard it is. You're done sitting on the clock. Don't you have a chair? Have you had any dreams in English? May as well be native. Yes, did you ask that before or after I answered your question? I didn't see it. Sorry, I do that a lot. Hold off for heresy to the Portuguese language. Yeah, maybe. But I had dreamt in English. I think the one final barrier is numbers and math. I'm faster in Portuguese. So when I'm doing math for the stream, I'm usually doing it in English in case I speak the numbers out loud or anything, and that usually makes me worse at it. To answer my question, 7.9 to just waiting for the dishwasher to finish a cycle. That's when you chat. Okay. I thought you were like serving tables with your earbuds, and you're serving the guy, and you just sneak. Hang on a moment. He just made a funny comment. There. It's just this Brazilian guy. I already know the answer, of course. Sorry. No matter how off Coldperd you may go, your mods are stuck with me. No, it's fine. You can stick around. I mean, you can always say, like, if people are like, look, you're watching Twitch on the job, and you can be like, no, this is my second job. I mod for this guy. Pays me in Brazilian bucks. Do you make a Brazilian bucks? That's a lot of bucks. Can you go into the door? Jesus. In the kitchen on dishes most nights. Okay. I hope you can find your zen doing that. I managed to get 2 groups, nice. Brazilian bucks. Keep the last one there when you're chatting as well. I mean, it's a good way to wrecking some hours without doing actual work. I approve. Oh, we have our health. Of course our health is going up. With the levels. I think our max health was at 470. Yeah, it was 470, which is why I healed at 170, which was risky. Now I can heal it at 200. It'll probably be more if I get more levels. Unfortunately, I don't think we have a better spot to farm than this. We spend more time finding enemies than killing them. Like, there are a lot of enemies downstairs, but they take forever to kill, it's not worth it. And they do damage to us, so you have to do extra management afterwards, so it's worse. Cooking food for dinner. Nice, we had some... I don't know if this is gonna sound standard or weird, I don't know what... But for dinner we had pasta with tuna and tomato sauce. It's pretty good. Pretty filling. I was kind of hungry, so like to help the diet every now and again. It sounds so good. Alright. Because I've met people who thought that mixing tuna with tomato sauce was weird. Also, it was not that pre-cooked dry pasta that you buy at the market. We got the fresh one that has to be refrigerated. It was so fucking good. Also, I saw a guy who was just like, you know what, like... You know that coffee that I make that is like the pour over, you put it on the filter, and you circle the filter with the hot water, everything. I swear to God, look guys, I just came up with this new coffee that's going to be all the rage this year, and whatever the fuck. And he grabs the filter, and before dumping the coffee grounds in there, he lines the walls with condensed milk. And then he dumps the coffee on top of it, and then he does the pour over. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? And then he did the pour over into a into a French press. He doesn't use it, but I think he didn't have another container or something. That's so dumb. And these people call themselves influencers. What the fuck are they influencing? What they're influencing too, man? That's horrendous. This portfolio for fish will different. Sure, but it's, you know, tuna that you buy in a can, so it's already weird fish. As influencers, yeah. No, he got the filter, and he poured some condensed milk on the walls of the filter, and then he dumped the coffee on top, and then he did the pour over. Using Chemex or a different one, I'm using a Hario V60. But I'm using the Sweden model. There is a video where I show it off. You can see my entire setup on that video if you're curious. I'm using mostly the same setup nowadays. I just upgraded my grinder. I got a better grinder for Christmas, and I can actually make my coffee completely free of bitterness. You get everything else from the coffee except the bitterness, because I can grind it to a perfect coarseness. And even perfect. Man, my coffee is so good nowadays. I don't say that lightly. I've always said this, I'm very demanding when it comes to my own stuff. I used to hate my coffee. I would drink the shittest coffee out on the street and think it was... I like coffee from McDonald's, and I didn't like my own. But now I do. It's finally good. Coffee with condensed milk. I have had coffee with condensed milk before, but you know, you get your little cup, you put a little bit of condensed milk in the bottom, and you pour the coffee on top of it. So it's like coffee and cream. But not on the filter! I just... Well, do you grab the coffee grounds after everything is done with a spoon, so you eat sweet coffee grounds or some shit? Jesus Christ. Crunchy and sweet. Mostly was a way to take a break from work. It all good. It seems semi-productive. You know, for me, preparing coffee, and it's something I mentioned a lot on that video that I posted. For me, making coffee is a ritual that I enjoy. It relaxes me. I like to measure the coffee beans, grinding them. I like cleaning my grinder. It's a whole process. Grabbing the filter, putting it in the holder, adjusting, doing the little hole in the middle, pouring, measuring the amounts, tracking the time, doing multiple pours, everything. I enjoy the process. It's pretty much half the reason I make coffee. I also want to drink it, of course, that's the other half. But I enjoy the making a lot. Only way you like to drink it with milk. That's a lot of people down here in Brazil prefer their coffee like that. That's almost every Brazil. She's one-shotting the guy. Your specifically is roasted coffee powder, the allergy metal team? Kettle, pour it through a filter. Yeah, no, that's how most Brazilians make coffee. Black coffee. Or they use those coffee makers that is just that but automated. I'm fancy because I've learned that it makes the coffee taste better. So I buy the beans. There is a place in my town that buys the beans from, you know, the states that produce coffee here in Brazil. They buy the bag and they roast it here. You can buy it 2 days after it's been roasted. And freshly roasted coffee is so much better. Holy fuck. understanding was that your written instructions for how to Chemex stayed on the wall. The particular officer worked for quite a few weeks after you left. Because making coffee, like all of it, like you use a scale to get like the exact amount of grams. You track the time. You keep the same coarseness on the grinder if you're doing, because if you follow the exact same steps, it's going to come out the same. And then if you make it a lot, then you can start adjusting variables like the water temperature, the coarseness, the amount, the how many dumps of water you do, stuff like that. So if you have a recipe and you follow it, it's going to turn out the same. That's how a recipe is supposed to work. So yeah, if you had a good recipe, then there's no reason to change it, unless people, it's lacking this or has too much that, then you start adjusting. You don't take anything with your coffee. Nowadays I don't. I used to either have it, I used to have it with milk and sugar. Sometimes just sugar. Nowadays it's just the coffee with nothing, because I'm making better coffee and because my palate has improved. And my wife now, I make coffee like sometimes the old way, with pre-ground coffee that you buy in a bag and filter it normally and everything. And I made some coffee like that today, and she drank it. I'm sorry, you got me used to the good stuff. This tastes like shit. I have corrupted her. She only takes fancy coffee now. Yeah, I didn't realize before, because I always thought coffee was too bitter, so I added sugar so I could drink it. When I was starting to get used to drinking with no sugar, this one time I was like, yeah, no, today it's too bitter, I'm gonna put some sugar today. And I did, and I drank it, and I was like, okay, there's no bitterness, but where's the taste of the coffee? It's all masked. I can barely notice. That's when I realized that you take the bitterness away, you take all the taste of the coffee with it. So I forced myself to learn to drink it with no sugar because it's way better. And then the other day I mentioned that I drink my tea with no sugar as well, and people were looking at me weird. Alright, so far have a safe trip. How goes the grinder, Yoshinaka? It's going fine, it's going fine. I think we already bought the consumables we need, and we already have leveled 6 levels. The minimum I want is 10. But I'm not gonna do anything other than grind today. If I can get like 15 levels, that would be great. If I can get 10, that's acceptable. Once I'm satisfied, or mostly satisfied, I'm gonna check if I can buy better gear. I'll check if I can buy gear for myself and for the other 2 characters that are going to join later. But our damage is going up, because it's not just the levels, right? We're increasing our skill with the weapons as well. It's a shame we're gonna be losing Homei. Gonna be replacing her a couple of low levels. But yeah, because of the levels we got, like, these enemies are dying very quickly. I could consider going downstairs, but again, those enemies don't give me good experience. They take too long to kill. Like this group here takes like 4 attacks to kill. It gives like 2, 3, 4 times the experience of one of those large dudes under downstairs that take forever. Alright, it's not about the biggest numbers of experience, it's about the most experience per hour. Man, back when I played World of Warcraft, I got into a zen state while leveling characters, and I would start... My brain would start to just float away and start doing math like XP per hour and optimizing and seeing how many levels I'm gonna be. Like, if I stop playing at this time, what level I'm gonna be. I also can't forget to buy ammo. Because that's the one thing we're spending here, is the ammo. Like grinding all metal dungeon. XP per hour grinded matter. Jump to level 4 real quick, 7, 8, 29. Yeah. It's something that I do a lot. When it comes, like, usually when I play these games, and I was talking about this I think last week. Usually when I play RPGs, I go in assuming the game is reasonable and you can just play straight. As long as you don't avoid fights excessively, you're going to get all the experience you need. When it doesn't happen like just now, that's when I start to think about grinding, and then that's when I start doing the math. I don't go for it straight away. But we are already stronger. We're gonna have more total mana. But the pills we can buy, they only restore 300 anyway. Basically, whenever I have more than 300 to recover, I should use one. I need to use the talismans whenever they drop off. And I need to use a healing whenever I can heal at least 300. And I should use the cheap pill whenever my mana can recover by 300. Like, it's simple math. But I have to do that fight optimized, and I think I'll get it on the first attempt tomorrow. Thanks to this farming. You're skipping through the coffee video. Really dig the fancy flower theme filter. I love that one. And it's not just fancy, there is a reason it is like that. It reduces the contact area between the holder and the filter, which makes it lose less temperature, so that one doesn't need preheating. And it also, because you have condensation, having that flower format, which is a sweetened model, that's what they call it. That format means you get less condensation, so you get less water bypass. So the coffee comes out a little bit more bold. Gooseneck kettles, near in the sense. Gooseneck kettles are phenomenal for pour over coffee. I have, before I got that electric one, I have a regular one with a little thermometer on the lid. Also very useful. Of course, the electric one is better. I just imported that one straight from China. Ah, shit, I can't go here. External flow, yeah. Minimize the external flow. Yeah, I didn't read the full message. You did talk about it, yes. As soon as I saw it the first time, I was like, I want that. I still have my old one, of course. But yeah, that one did improve a little bit. And that's the thing. When it becomes a hobby, because for me coffee making is a hobby. It became a hobby. When it becomes a hobby, you start to try and improve every little thing you can, like go for the little details. move every little variable. Who has a Zorshirushi that kept the water at 190, whatever the magic number was, plus a gooseneck for the transfer. Yeah, that gooseneck that you see there, it keeps the temperature, I just put it back. So I do, nowadays, I've changed my technique a little bit. I'm doing 1 bloom plus 2 pours. A heavy one and a light one. And between all of those, between each one of those 3, I put it back there. So it keeps the temperature perfect level. And the temperature depends mostly on the color of your roast. Like darker roasts require less hot water. You're going to want somewhere between usually 92 and 98, depending on the roast. Infinitely 80-20 something like coffee making. Always further tweaks to make more money to spend. Yeah, but I'm happy where I'm at. Like, I got a very good grinder because the main important thing for your coffee, the 2 most important things for at least this kind of coffee that I'm making, is the coffee beans being freshly roasted and the grinder. People will come like, there's this forum that I read, Brazilian coffee making forum. And sometimes people come along and be like, oh, I have this much of a budget, I'm thinking of buying this and this and this and this and that. And they'll say, like, dude, cheap out on everything. Like, you can buy a cheaper this, a cheaper that, like, grab a regular kettle, I don't give a fuck. Move all of that budget into a grinder. And it makes a fucking difference. I've upgraded to a King Grinder K6. I might do another coffee thing like that someday, and then I can show you guys a new grinder. It's very powerful. What are my health and mana pools looking like? We got 60 more health. The mana is probably higher, but I don't remember where it was at. And these numbers are important because I'm gonna write down before the boss fight what are the numbers at which we have to heal and mana up to keep it optimal. Our skill... Oh, I think our skill has capped out. I think it caps out at 200. I think it caps out at 200. But it doesn't matter for the final boss, you can't use the gun on it. It matters for the boss before, but... boss before is whatever at this point. I remember the grinder was there sure as many $100 because we started anything like crazy. Yeah, no, this one is a couple of hundred, I think. This one that I have now. But it was the single biggest upgrade. I am finally very happy with my coffee. I don't need to spend more money. I just very carefully maintain this grinder clean. And I don't need to spend more money. I literally can't think of anything unless I decided I wanted to go for like espresso making. Like I have an espresso machine where we make very simple coffees in. I could get like a naked filter or some shit and then getting those things that spread the thing. If you look at the setups that people have for espresso making, it's nuts. Honestly, I don't want to invest more money. I'm happy with the results as they are. These espresso machines are like Jaguars, you need two so that one can use one while the other is broken. To them, yeah. I mean, you need to learn how to. I have a very simple espresso maker. Because those that you buy that come with a pressurized capsule. So you can use whatever coarseness of coffee grounds that you want, it will work. It's not great, but when you were in a hurry. Tons of the sneaky to use of here. You forgot the wave emote. Who are you? What did you do to Sophia? No waving emote. Alright, finally. When you want an express espresso, yes. I make espressos when I'm lazy. When I am semi-lazy, we have these drop filter coffees. They're pretty decent. Not as good as my pour-overs, but they're better than my espressos. And when I have time, I make the pour-over. When I have a lot of time, I make a French press. You were distracted with food. Good, that's a good distraction. Ah, so you make dinner at the restaurant and then you bring it home. Well, yeah, you know, makes sense. You don't want to eat at a filthy place like a restaurant, right? I just realized 32 hours into the game that attack is in the middle of the menu, so it can more quickly navigate to where you want. Most games attack is at the top and then you have to go all the way down to reach other things. This one is at the middle to make it more efficient. Such a tiny detail, I just realized. It's very clever. Considering the game has so much slowdown because MSX, that kind of tracks. Because we have selected the wrong option on the menu because of delays before. Poor man's ring menu. The MSX will probably barf at a rings menu. A ring menu like that. Talking about Secret of Mana stuff. That menu felt so fancy. Every single game is gonna have a menu like this in the future. Nope. This is the future. Yeah, our levels are coming in much slower now. I feel we've been at 36 for a while. I don't think we'll be able to get to like 45. I think I'll be capping at 40 for tonight. What kind of enemies did we get here? It was these ones, which might be good, but you have to kill them quickly for them to be reasonable. Which I don't think we do. Because they attack too quickly and they spend too much time, so this is slow because of that. They're dying a lot faster. But it's just 100 more. I don't know if that's worth it. But there might be other enemies here that are worth it. Also, there might be leftover items I missed before. it's dying quick enough. We got 37. Yep, there are items right here. Mei Hong will show up. So I'll just stand there. Right, this was the other character. And Mei Hong doesn't go to the final boss. Well, 2 attacks, I guess. Mei Hong and Lee, right? They only participate in that. Not Ostracon. Ostracon is the other game. What was the guy called? Motian? All they do is defend. White Snake Crown. I don't think it's... No, I don't think it's good for anything. And I don't think there's better shit than the Lunatite. Hang on. Lunatite ring, Lunatite boots. There are better gloves. We have super gloves. The best ones are hyper gloves. Might be able to buy those. Powered suit, Lunatite suit. I don't think... I think it's all the Lunatite and we just need the hyper gloves instead of the super ones, which might be on the shop right now. You know, it's only 10 Rand in the final battle just before that. Yeah, but that one, like the strat for that is the other 2 characters defend, so they can soak the damage. Then again, what if there is another fight after that? What if we fight each other? What if we fight each other and Tyrion has to lose, but now he's too strong? Then we have to load... Oh, there is a save here. Then we have to load the previous game and level him up just right. Ever play Phoenix Point? No, I don't want to play that. I want to play Phantom Brigade as well. I think the only other modern XCOM like that I kind of played was Phantom Doctrine, which was good. It was a very good game. Ended up kind of dropping it because it got boring. Not boring, it got repetitive. Because that game has one kind of flaw to me. It was very fun. I do recommend you giving it a shot if you don't know it and you're kind of in any way, shape or form interested in XCOM kind of like games. The problem with that game is that it is anti-combat. That's because it's a spy game. So whenever you get into combat, the game has a mechanic where it goes like, okay, in this many turns they're gonna get reinforcements, and they're gonna keep coming forever. So you can't enjoy battles. You're supposed to, if you start a battle, the only thing you have to do is evacuate. And I don't know, I kind of did another playthrough of XCOM 2013 after that because I was itching for battles. It's more puzzly. Tactical breach Tactical breach wizards. Not even on my wish list. It's in there, thank you, I shall take a look. Go for the magic, they don't mix. That depends if they are like just like skills that you can use. They just happen to be magic shaped. Like XCOM 2, they have like psi abilities. Whatever, if a game has the exact same thing but they're called spells, it's fine. Don't talk about mechanical spoilers, it's not the sort of magic that pisses me off. See, he knows. He knows what's up. I was wondering where to point. You're making a funny. Is that allowed? You're a mod. You can't make a funny. You're supposed to ban people for making a funny. I hate Magic, and you know what game I mentioned that I might want to do a few streams of? Just like one playthrough because I haven't played that game in forever. Master of Magic. I know it's like old news, everyone has seen 500 people stream that game, but I played it so much as a kid. I haven't played it in ages. Like, have a playthrough, have people vote on the spellbook composition we're going for. And just chill. I haven't played an X4 game in a while as well. 4X? Not X4, right? 4X. What kind of shenanigans I'm gonna pull off? I'm gonna... You know how I play those games? I take too many unnecessary risks. It always bites me in the ass. But on my own time, I just save scum. But if I play that game on stream, I can't be save scumming. So it's going to be a mess, and we're gonna lose. Master of Orion. You know, would you believe me if I told you I never played a Master of Orion? I never got my hands on it as a kid. You had to time yourself out for a bad joke before, yeah. I remember that. I used to kind of like Age of Wonder. But I don't know why, for some reason I feel like that game is not as good as Master of Magic. Even though it's supposed to be, because it came much after. It was a lot fancier. Maybe it's just the nostalgia talking. Also, I didn't have like a MIDI card back then, and that game has exquisite MIDI music. It also, if I play that game, I have to make sure I get a patched version, because I remember that game had a crashing / soft lock issue where if the enemy researched lycanthropy and used it, the game would crash. And if you had a save file that happened like 2 turns before that, then like reloading it would just cast it again. Those are the best kind of shenanigans. I like Master of Magic's like otherworld thing, whatever it calls, where you have 2 maps and you teleport between them. And you can play with a character that starts on the other side. Mirror. Right. I remember playing that game a lot. I remember watching that's one of the games that I would start up, just watch the intro. And then quit sometimes when I didn't have time to play. That was one, the other was Pagan. I freaking loved. You have been a thorn on my side for far too long, Avatar. I watched that intro so many times. Kibitz doesn't like his mom's magic. Probably because she makes him have it with vegetables. It kind of makes the magic taste bland. Mom's magic is better than the one that makes you go, oh. Right, but Master of Magic would be very safe to stream because it doesn't have a campaign. I would be like, I have to do one game and win. Like, that's kind of like Civilization. I probably wouldn't be like, oh, let's do it on Nightmare difficulty because I love hating myself. The audio went insane? I didn't hear anything. Wasn't looking at the meters. I think it was just you, Sunfall. Sorry to say. Because it's very, very unlikely for the audio of the stream to break in any way. It might break for me, but not for you guys in general, because I don't do what a lot of streamers do, which is capture the desktop audio. There's literally 2 audio sources that I'm looking at right now. It's just the game and the microphone. PS1 version? That makes me feel as weird when I discovered there was a PS1 version of Diablo. A Japanese only. Oh, that kind of explains a bit. Some games, just the idea of them being on a console feels so weird. Isn't there a console version of the original Civ? Was like gapping like back in the day when there was PC overload and trying to play. Talking a spinning fan, other stream didn't have that issue. It was probably Twitch twitching with your buffers. I used to have audio desync issues with Twitch a long time ago when watching. Especially when I watched it on my TV from one of my consoles. Civilizado. 1997, the game was ported to PlayStation with various graphical improvements retitled Civilizado Najutsu no Keifu. This was Japan-only released by Asmic. Interesting. I wonder if it was called Civilizado so people would associate with Civilization. It was foreign for a time. It was Metal Dungeon, yeah. Hey, if you say it like Civilizard. Yeah, that's probably what they were going for. Civilizardo. Civilizado. Civilizado. So it was shown as Civilizard, but it wasn't written Civilizardo. It was Civilizado. They don't have the ru in the middle. You unironically want to poke at that insane PS1 portables on the world. What? Don't you want to play? Hang on, let me get the correct console. Let me get the correct console. Ah, no, it was scrapped. But I think there was like a dump of a prototype somewhere. You should see if you can find a dump of Robinson's Requiem for the Atari Jaguar CD. That sounds way more interesting than Ultima on the World for the PS1. What do you mean, nope? I'm offering you the time of your life. Fine, play the Amiga version, see if I care. Capacity for self-hate is large but limited. I need to work on that. You need to broaden your horizons. You know what I kind of wanted to play, but I don't think there is a fan translation, and I don't really want to play that much that I would like go through the trouble of try to translate it dynamically myself. The TurboGrafx port, the PC Engine, I should say, the PC Engine port of Might and Magic is technically the best, most exquisite version of the game. It's very fancy battle screens. Not as good as what you saw when I played. I can imagine. It should look better. I remember seeing screenshots of it now, actually. The people mentioned when I was playing through the DOS version. The jankiest of janks, yes. I'm sure it's gonna be plenty jank. Our leveling is slow, man. I'm gonna keep farming for a while longer, like another 15 to 30 minutes. Then I'm gonna head to a shop. I'm going to get everything I can, including the ammo. I can't forget the ammo. And then I'm gonna save for today. And then tomorrow we're gonna have a very special stream. It might be short, but it might be the ending of this game, and I'm positive the ending is gonna be fully exquisite. It uses full 3D models. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, no. Now that you mentioned that, you are pulling out my memories of those screenshots. You know, Zofair, when you type that, you know what is the first thing that comes to my mind? In Ultima Online, when you're a ghost, when you die, you become a ghost. When you're a ghost, or maybe that changed, but that's how it used to work. You can toggle your visibility for the living, so you can show up to the living. And if the living can see you, they can't interact with you, you can try to talk to them. But everything you type, other dead people can read it, but the living can only see ooh. It gets replaced by oohs with lowercase, uppercase spread over. There was a skill or a spell or something, spirit talking or whatever, that would allow you to understand what that people were saying. You remember that? Good. I did not imagine that. And when you got resurrected at an ink or healer or someone resurrected you, the game didn't want to like, oh, he resurrects and he's naked. We don't want naked people running around. That's in bad taste. So you would get resurrected with a white robe, which was pointless and useless, and people wanted to equip their shit and actually see what they were equipping. So people would get rest and promptly remove their robe and dump it on the ground because it was worthless. So they would run around naked anyway. And you would know when a battle took place when there were a lot of robes spread all over the ground. You didn't look for the skeletons or the bodies, you looked at the white robes littered across. Ooh, to you too, yes. That game was so interesting. Did you guys know there was skill and equipment that you could use to disguise yourself, and people would see you differently with another name and everything? And the main purpose of doing that was so you could be a pickpocket. Otherwise people would be like, oh, this guy's a pickpocket. But if you're disguised, well, people might not notice. And then you could pickpocket people. And I think you could put things in their bags as well. There was a spell that could be used to achieve the same effect if you were a mage. I think the spell was called Incognito. We're not getting a lot of personal data for Tion Ran. Oh, it's just one more battle. Okay, I need to see after the next battle. Tion Ran is gonna level to 38. I want to see how many battles it takes now for one level. It's... I think it's 50 something battles. Or 25 if it is the other, or 30 if it's the other. So like on average 40 battles. And yes, the gun is capped at 200. Extreme so many polygons being scary on the screen on rare occasions. I don't know, do I go for another level? I did say at least I'm gonna farm for another 20 minutes. We will be at level 40 on the boss. That's for certain, because we'll get levels before the boss. At least one from the boss before it. If I could like be in a place like this where the enemies just keep coming, that would speed up the process a lot because we're killing them quickly. Just 2 attacks and boom. I mean, this place is very good right now. I wonder if they stop coming, if I can just leave this room and come back. And have that repeat. Oh, there's more. Maybe if I can find a threshold, a door or something, I can trigger more of those. There's another one here. Sometimes these guys are dying with one attack now. I mean, Home is doing more damage than Tion Ran. I wonder if Tion Ran's spell damage is going up. Is there a status for that? Maybe the damage you do with spells is based on your level, so that would help a lot as well.
Here we go, pal. I hope it's the right apartment, Michael.
So do I.
Good grief.
This is my math face. Zofair, thank you so much for the gift sub, my friend. I really appreciate the support. Thank you for the double nice plus 45 gift subs gifted so far in my channel. Really appreciate that. That's a lot of support. It means a lot to me. Ramming Speed, if you're here, enjoy the ad-free viewing and the emotes. Most appropriate gift sub you've ever made, and they like you a lot. Alright, I don't want to bring them out of lurk or anything. But we are at ramming speed right now. I really fucking appreciate my lurkers. Like, I love people keeping me company and talking to me, of course, but when a person lurks a lot, I just imagine, man, they really enjoyed just chilling. And I'm glad I enjoy chilling too. The DOS original is already not held too tightly. It's a very brittle experience. PS1 version is just like, can we make more money out of it? I don't know my lurkers, like the full dedicated lurkers, because technically you can like open the chat, the channel list, and see whoever is in chat. But I don't do that. Like, they lurk for a reason. You know, don't have to interact. I think a lot of people. I think most people who enjoy watching Twitch have no interest in interacting. I mean, I was a strictly lurker on Twitch for many years before I decided, you know what, some of these people are fun, I'm gonna participate. Yeah, Zofair should try playing Ultima Underworld just to see if his PS1 implodes into a little ball of metal and dust. PS1 just condenses itself. Nice, they are respawning without me leaving. So yeah, this is the region to do this. Are you dedicated to the Rodriguez %? But you have to also try to do the Rodriguez % on PS1. What if it is different? What if it is a different name? You know, but, well, you already know that you have to post it somewhere and link it on Discord later. Just let like shit last night, you need to wind down and pass out. Alright. Well, Sunfall, thank you so much for being here, giving me company, I do appreciate that. Please do rest, my friend. If you decide to go lurking, fall asleep, do enjoy the lurk. Report back with that too. Awesome. Why don't you get a little PS1 emulator for your little phone? You just do that. And then you can post it on TikTok, spread over 500 clips. And then you too can become an influencer. When your laptop decides to show up. No, you do it on your phone right now. Man, I set up my I got my laptop this week. I just barely had time to set it up for work. And today it saved my ass. It was providential. Because I ran out of power. Because a bird exploded nearby. So glad I decided to finally get a laptop. Also, was the thing that I kept postponing, but RAM prices are going to go buco. So I decided to rush it and get it before it became too stupid. Bird exploded. Yeah, it happens here like once or twice a year. A bird runs into a transformer, becomes feather dust. And then the electricity gets weird until they go in and fix it. It makes a very big noise. I woke up with the noise actually. You can blow up seagulls by giving them Alka-Seltzer. Hello there, Sakura. If I look that up on YouTube, will that put me on a list? What if you give the seagull Coke and Mentos? Just remove the bird from the hardware store this morning. I'm thinking of Zofia kicking the thing in the ass into the sidewalk and stay out! You don't think you drink enough Coke? You would drink enough Coke to matter? I'm sure there is a funny retort that I can come up with for that, but I came up blank. But he Frigidaires to stay out. I mean, it would be worrying if Frigidaire started so faring in real life. I was gonna say so fair and I say Frigidaire, but I decided to just go with it. Is the Frigidaire so faring again? How's the game going? We got 8 levels. Today is just farming. I'll beat the game tomorrow, because if you weren't here, last stream of this game, I got to the final boss, I spent 2 hours on it, and I couldn't beat it. So I loaded the game. The last stream was 4.5 hours, and I completely wasted it because I didn't get a save point inside. So this stream is farming. I would like to get to level 40, but I don't think I'll be able to. We were here for enough for that. Yeah, it was a fun stream. Don't get me wrong. But all of that was Lost. And tomorrow's stream title, because it's going to be the ending of this game. And if I remember, of course, because I had already forgotten it, but I want to title the stream like Tears in the Rain. I think it's gonna be very appropriate. I think it's going to be so good, man. This game's ending must be exquisitely artisanal. Where Heaven Man faces Lord Heaven Man, and Lord Heaven Man looks the same as him, but then he takes off his trench coat and he's wearing a Sensei armor underneath. And then he faces again, and then he summons a cosmic lobster and boards its mouth from where it attacks you with meteor showers in a freaking universe exploding background. That fight is so good. RG Cultural.
How do you get two drummers to play in unison? Shoot one.
This is an RG Cultural game. New German just dropped. Modern RTS. Your brain would pace. Will alt pace your mouth, and yeah. Illusion Stardew City. Because of the farming. People came in here, I don't remember who it was, came in here asking if I was gonna play some kind of ghostly Harvest Moon. Because of the stream title. I could have called this string a Cyberpunk Grinder. Oh, how's that? Same meaning. Agricultural. Zofair is providing the proper spelling. What's going on? You think it's an app for meeting like interesting individuals? It's an app where men find men to put up a Shadowrun party. Where deckers and samurais meet to be happily ever after. This is wrong, we can stop. Yeah. Okay, we got 39. I can farm one more level, right? It's gonna be pretty late, but fuck, whatever. Because we still have to get out of here and then if the shopping. Where people are asking to be decked, that's better, thank you. Where input meets output. Man, the boss fight before the final boss takes so long because there's so much shit going on screen, the game slows down a lot. Nice, double group is always better. The plan for tomorrow is to go in, get Lee. Once you get Lee, if I'm not mistaken, you get a full automated sequence that only ends after you're already inside Illusion Castle. With Mei Hong and Lee. Once we get in there, my intention is to save, do the puzzle with the statues. Assume it's not randomized, we already have the solution. Go back, save again, and then we go for the boss. Disinfectant the enemies. Yeah, no, they have to be squeaky clean. I don't want them to get an infection. Need to see if you can get a second session with the Shadowrun Anarchy one shot you did. Technomancer was so fun. Tabletop RPGs. I miss having friends. And the RPGs are a lot of... Tabletop RPGs are a lot of work for the game master. You need to prepare a lot. Remember, it's fun work, but it's still a lot of work if you want to be a good host. Evidently, in the full Shadowrun, they are a lot more bogged down with rules. Yeah. Working on a homebrew tabletop RPG. Those are usually fun. It is a lot of work. And once you've done that at least once properly, you learn to be a lot more respectful with the game master, because some players, they just want to try and see if they can fuck up. Or can I do anything that he wasn't prepared for? That's like their goal in there. Of course, there are also assholes on the other side. There are game masters that see it as a game where they win if they kill everyone. You have a custom world you're slowly creating. Awesome! Massive Eberron campaign to call Project Stupid. I did have this Vampire the Masquerade campaign I game mastered many years ago. That I did kind of build the whole world. It was very interesting because it ended up becoming a sort of globe-trotting kind of adventure. And I was lucky that I had players that were very creative and they collaborated a lot with helping build the world. They weren't just like, okay, we're here, what is the mission, what do we do? No, they actually wanted to explore and talk and discuss things. It was fascinating to just like have a problem in front of them and see how they dealt with it. Everyone being the best D&D setting. You might have brought that up before. But then again, my memory might just be like, oh, information. Let me pretend I've seen it before. But I get the feeling it's not the first time I've heard you mention it. Home is going to be level 40 and we're gonna replace her with a level 20 something. Well, 2. The game came up with years ago, making a proper world with proper story in the future and actual mechanics. It sounds like a lot of work. Probably gonna need playtesters. There was a time in the 90s, late 90s, no, early 90s more likely, where there were all these weird-ass amazing tabletop RPGs systems and settings coming out. I'll hear about them and be like, what? What is it about? They were trying to like one up all the other ones in weirdness. It was awesome. You know, new people who has a massive love of tabletop RPGs in general. It's over 35 years of tabletop experience. Fan will do the playing test, it's perfect to play the original with you. Want to see his face, makes the connection. That sounds like a fun experience. I'm pretty sure the jewel is not a consumable, it's just vendor trash. Killing this enemy so quick. How many more do we need to get level 40? I'm gonna have to stop at level 40. The levels are coming in much slower now. That sounds like another 20 fights or thereabouts. Good lord, Home. Why are we replacing you again later? Because you're a kid, I think? It's so dumb. It would be so good if they actually matched or came in close to Tionran's level, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna be level 20 something when they join the party. Which is, I think, the level they were at before. I still find it funny that you kill it with like single attack from the little kid. 800 damage, that was a critical, I think. Tionran is getting the experience, he's just watching. There's another here. You need to organize the stories, timeline, and figure out the names of places. Modifying D&D 5th edition so you have the mechanics. That's a smart way to go about it. I have a solid basis to expand on. It's way smarter than what I would have done. She's doing double the damage of Tionran. And probably that gun is not the best. But we focused on guns and the better gun uses mana, so we're not using it. We've learned about the spell usage for the boss fights anyway. I get both? No. We should be close. I'm surprised we didn't level yet. Okay, this group is 1700, it should be in the level. You're stuck. Yeah, I hate when you want to think of something like that and you get stuck on a thing that you know doesn't fit, but your mind can't go anywhere else. I know how that feels. And naming characters and projects and variables can be so annoying at times. I'll start heading to the exit. Character naming has never been a problem for you. Lucky you. I've always had so much trouble with it. I prefer games where you don't get to name your characters. Or games that provide a default. I usually go like when a game has you type like an RPG, has you type the name for the characters, and it doesn't give you a default, I often look it up, which is the canonical name for the hero of this game. And use that. I don't want to choose. Whatever I choose, I'm gonna hate. Your character name is Enido Syrian. Why haven't we leveled yet? I feel like that was way over 20 fights. Thank you. Terrain has reached level 40. Getting out of here. Is there more? Can you level more? Or is this like maybe a cap? You can level more. You would take like 70 fights or something. We'll get 1 or 2 more levels on our way to the final boss. But right now I want to go to a shop for equipment first. See if we can get hyper gloves. Tianen. Finish! So I'm gonna hurry up and put down a save. I don't want to lose all the leveling. For power loss or something. Yes, I am. I choose the wrong option. What if you find Descendant, but in some other language? Like, look up Descendant in a bunch of different languages and see one that sounds cool. So it's kind of what you want, but doesn't have to be. Where is the weapon shop around here? I think this was the consumables shop, right? Yeah. I'll come back here and I'm gonna use the rest of the money to stock up. That kid is on top of the roof, I can't get there. Where's the weapon shop of this town? Town, 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 town. No, this is nothing, that's the inn. This is... It must be this. Weapons. So we could buy better shit for her, but she's gonna leave. There is no reason to do that. Protective gear. Hyper gloves. This is what we want. We want 3 of these. Sada headband. I'm gonna save and buy one and see how it compares to the one we have. Fuel generation ring. I could try that as well, but the hyper gloves we definitely want. It isn't the one I have, right? That would be very dumb if that's what just happened. I need to buy ammo, can't forget the ammo. You'll have super gloves, the hyper gloves are way better. Look, our attack is 240, it goes, our defense goes up. And they're not that much better though, but they're still better. So have 2 more for the other 2 characters when they join the party. I'm gonna save, and we're gonna test some of the other gear. All right, Sakura, a very high energy game to play tomorrow. All right, thank you for stopping by. Have a good sleep, my friend. And if you're back here tomorrow, I intend to finish this game tomorrow. But yeah, see you around. Have a good one. Now I'm gonna mess with those other items. See what this headband does. See what this battle suit does. See what this ring does. And see if any of that is better. And then I'm gonna reload because I doubt all of them are gonna be upgrades. So suit, battle suit. More defense but less agility. I prefer to keep the agility. You know why? Because we want to attack more often on that fight. All the agility we can have. Ring. Q generation ring. Less defense, so no. Headband, less defense. Alright, no. I'm gonna load. Right, so I'm gonna buy ammo for this gun. We have a recoilless gun which uses large caliber bullets. I'm gonna buy 1,000 bullets. This is more than enough. And then drugs. He has Super Greg. It's same as Gold Tablet, there's no reason to buy it. Okay, so because we still have a lot of money, I'm gonna go to the other guy and I'm gonna buy another 10 pack of all of the stuff that he has. Yes. Of course. Why did I think of that? Get out, lady! You know when there's someone in the street and they keep wanting to talk to you and you just want to get somewhere and they want to be rude? So talismans, I'm gonna buy another 10 of these. They're very cheap. Gonna buy another 10 of these. And then more importantly, I'm gonna buy another 10 of these. They're very expensive. I bought one of these, I'm gonna buy one more. And then I'm gonna buy another 10 of these. No way we run out of mana. Alright, chat, there is no way we're gonna run out of mana. I could even buy more. You know what? I'm gonna buy more. Because I'm very annoyed that we couldn't beat the boss because we didn't have enough mana. It's not like we need anything else. So we have 42 mana fillers. They don't fully heal your mana, but they're pretty good. Then we have 2 gold tablets for emergency. We have 1 hyper glove for each of the other characters that are gonna show up. I also got 20 spell barriers and 20 attack barriers that last 4 shots each. I gotta try to continue a one-sided conversation in the grocery store once though. Yeah. And sometimes people start talking. And the ones that do never have anything interesting to say. Is that too harsh? No, it isn't. Now, I'm going to refresh this data tomorrow. But Tierman has that much health. And that much mana. That is a lot more. He has 120 health more than he had last time we did this. Finally consented. Ah, that's a rookie mistake. His gun is maxed out, which doesn't matter for the final boss. And yeah, this is all we need. We have enough to do the final dive, so I'm gonna put down yet another save. I'm gonna do 2 saves just for extra security, extra safety, not security. Same word in my language. And I'm gonna stop the timer here. 33 hours. We are done with the farming. And tomorrow we're coming to finally beat Illusion City. Toshi.